As you might have gathered by the sleeveless arms, it's a beautiful spring day today. Temperature on the way here was 17 centigrade. This is Clipstone Old Quarter. I'm standing in front of the tree always called the Quirketti Tree, named after a very rare leaf beetle, Cryptocephalus quirketti. That's the tree where I first found it here at Sherwood. Today is just about a wander round. I do have one thing to film, but otherwise it's just a wheezy wander. On the way round here to where I'm filming now, I've had a really good count of common butterflies, 9 so far, and just one small tortoiseshell. But there's something missing in our spring butterflies, at least as far as I'm concerned, because I haven't seen one yet. Peacock. Whether last year was a bad year for peacock, I don't know. But at the moment, it certainly seems like 2022 may well be a bad year. Peacocks usually about the first species I see in the spring. But anyway, we'll see if we can find one on this wheezy wander. I'm just calling in on the old man of the woods. This is quite a remarkable section of trunk, but we have to be quiet. He's asleep. It's quite remarkable, this. Not as though he's asleep, but looking down this way, forehead and everything. Something that the first time I saw this, which was only last year, walked past this tree thousands of times, literally, over the years. But then I discovered this chap. Since then, I've always called him the old man of the woods. He's been here a year or two. This is an old remnant stag oak. And the patterns that some of these trees, the bark, or where the bark was, creates, quite remarkable. In a way, it's a lot like looking at clouds. You can stare at different things on this and see all sorts. Whether it's in shot or not, there's even a lamb's head and like long ears just there. Personally, I just like this chap. I like to call on him now and again. Just sit and contemplate. The woods and forests are fabulous, just for losing yourself in. Quite remarkable places. Remarkable no matter what time of year or day you visit them. Personally, for me, they become even more alive after dark. It's harder to see things, obviously. That's when you rely on your hearing. Woodland on a night time completely awakens the senses, makes you appreciate things and realise things that you wouldn't even hear or be aware of during the daytime. You wouldn't pick them up against the background noise. Night time offers you that opportunity. They're quite the place for finding the soul, I think. Woodlands are great places to talk to, or to be in. And most people, if they like woodlands, usually have a favourite woodland and a favourite place within that woodland. I've got 2 favourite places. One is the centre tree and the other place is here, at the side of this chap. Both are in Clipstone Old Quarter. I prefer Clipstone Old Quarter to the Sherwood Forest Country Park, to be honest. Fewer people for one thing, so less disturbed here. Not very often that someone will come across you. You can lose yourself in Clipstone Old Quarter very easily indeed. That sound that you can hear is chiff-chaff. Most of you will know chiff-chaff, a rather incessant and repetitive song. Stop now. Marvellous, isn't it? Been calling incessantly for about 5 minutes. That's a real sign of spring for many people. It's most people's true sign of spring when the first chiff-chaff arrives, usually about between the 10th and 15th of March. I do like it. It's always nice to hear the first chiff-chaff. But the warbler, my spring warbler, that really marks the first day of spring for me, is Willow Warbler. Superb song, Willow Warbler. That cascading crescendo of notes, beautiful. Just conjures up many memories of warm spring days. And we've still got them to come. It's a lovely day, but still got those to come yet. When you get your first chiff-chaff, you can still get some cold weather. That's less likely once your willow warblers here. And willow warblers in Nottinghamshire usually arrive in that first week. And that's when you get your first one reported. Usually around about the 4th was often a date of Teakling, when I studied the birds there for 17 years. Sometimes it could be later, depending on whether the weather systems over Spain or France held migration up. Could hold it up for weeks sometimes. But at the moment, Clipstone Old Quarter is resounding to the song of the chiff-chaff. Well, just a bit further on now, I've just come across this large patch of coltsfoot flowers. Just looks beautiful, just coming up through last year's leaves. New life through old. And of course, being bright yellow, it's attracting a lot of insects, especially today. There's lots of Melagethes type beetles tucked in amongst the flowers, but there's a number of flies that are visiting as well. No butterflies on this patch, but it's lovely to see. Do you know, it's surprising how quickly the weeks and months go. Doesn't seem 5 minutes since I was talking about Bussy Willow just appearing, and already some goat sallow flowers are already past the best. This one's just on the point of coming out, but most I like this one. However, they are valuable as a nectar source for a lot of insects. There's a lot of flies arriving at these, but tucked in amongst these flowers you'll find some small little beetles, and then Melagethes, commonly known as pollen beetles. Any yellow flower that you ever see is usually riddled with these. When you get to sort of late July and August, if you look on the flowers of creeping thistle, they'll be more or less black with Melagethes beetles. Another yellow flower, of course. But these are beautiful. You ever look at a flower, a sallow flower? Beautiful things. And this bush, even though it's past its sort of golden yellow flowering stage, is still attracting a host of insects. There's a lot of honeybees here from the centre tree colony. Beautiful. But, as I say, it just shows you how quickly the year's going. The hazel catkins are about done now. Snowdrops, they've done. Crocuses are past the best. Just the last sort of few flowers. We're at the peak for daffodils now. And within a week or so, a lot of your daffs will be over. this top path at Clipstone Old Quarter. Centipedes just down there. But where I was stopping and seemingly gawping at an empty space on the floor had just triggered a memory. I think it was 2012, and this top path used to be pitch black, and I remember just coming up the section I walked up and then on to here. I saw something green. If I remember right, it was about the 31st of May. I'd gone the whole of May without seeing the first glowworm. I'd started ridiculously early for some reason. But when I came round this corner, I caught a glimpse of bright glowing green down there. I walked up to it, expecting to see a female glowworm. I was absolutely stunned, and it should have been there because I was absolutely lost for words when I came across a Geophilus easterni centipede, some 2-inch long and glowing from head to tail. Not that they have tails, sort of thing, but glowing in each segment, put it that way. It was absolutely astounding, coupled with the fact the ward was perfectly still. It was a still, quiet night, pitch black, and I was kneeling down looking at this centipede, this glowing green centipede scurrying around beneath me. Marvellous. My vain attempts to catch it were, quite frankly, poor. I never did catch it. But we were able to eventually, through a process of catching other examples of Geophilus easterni, we did something what was called centipede fondling or Geophilus fondling, something like that, where you got the centipede and you just gently manhandled it, and that would cause it to glow. The unusual thing about glowing centipedes, this was the first one, incidentally, where we actually proved what species glowed to science. It was never known in the UK species which species glowed. It was known that some glowed. We proved that it was Geophilus easterni. Few people even came to see him that had never seen the glowing centipede. Sort of fable stuff, centipedes glowing. The interesting thing about the bioluminescent fluid from centipedes when you manhandle them is that the fluid is exuded. We have seen an instance where we'd accidentally trodden on a Geophilid centipede. It was all right. It was perfectly, unharmed, but it left behind dots of bioluminescent fluid, and they lasted still glowing for several minutes. Quite remarkable things. Sorry, I got carried away. I love this view. There again. It's probably well known that I love Clipstone Old Quarter, love the grass strip. But what you can see now, compared to recent videos, is how the recovery is taking place. Look how green it is now. I'll try and drop an old section of video in, or video clip, as we say in the trade. And that should show you how much this place has greened up. It's lovely. I still love coming this, and I've got renewed love for coming here now it's cleared again. And a renewed passion for recording the glowworms here. Can't wait for it to start. But it's been a lovely little wheezy wander. More of a plod really, I suppose, than a wheezy wander. It's always nice to come here, and the important thing is to get out and about. Finding stuff is secondary really, it's a bonus if I do happen to find something. Especially nowadays, I love doing this video stuff. I love this far more than I do updating the website at the moment and working on the website. All that'll come back in good time, as they say. But at the moment, my real passion is for videoing everything. Stuff that I see, where I can video it, and video it to a certain degree of bad quality. as you'll have noticed. Things have changed. My attitude towards things have changed. It's been quite an incredible spring, really, or first 3 months of the year. What is the same this year is that we've now resumed the similar type of springs that we've been having for the last 4 or 5 years, where we're getting to this sort of stale weather of cloudiness and easterly winds associated with anticyclonic high pressure. We always seem to be getting a high pressure this time of year in sort of March and April that plants itself over Europe, and for us just draws in pretty much cloudy weather. This year is not so bad though, so far, as you can see by the sky behind me, and the fact that I've took my shirt off. Oh no, more red mark. Got these, don't know where they came from, they appeared yesterday. They're not bites. But we've got that easterly wind again today. It's a very drying wind, and say we had some rain all day last week, everywhere is becoming bone dry again very quickly. And from what I've seen in the forecast, there's no sign of any real rain. Still, give farmers something to moan about, not it? I don't know whether to come back up here in a couple of hours or so, just before it gets dark, and about sort of 5:30ish. I think it'll be worth coming up and doing a glowworm larval survey. Couldn't get better conditions. Once the sun goes down, though, the temperatures will drop, and they're forecasted to be close to freezing again. So I may well come back. But I've enjoyed this little wander. I say, it's not always about finding stuff, it's just coming out, enjoying the countryside, enjoying nature, experiencing it. It's beautiful. Right now, all I want to experience is a pint. But I've got to get home first,